Coming up on the Tall Mike Wine Podcast.
Yeah. So when I say it was a little cooler, it was only 95, not 115.
I didn't realize driving out here, I'd get into like some serious rural areas.
You're in the sticks. That's right.
I didn't want to say it, but if you said it, that's okay. Yes, we're in the sticks.
I did actually make a little bit of wine in high school.
Was this for a class project or was this on the side?
It was on the side.
Oh, okay. Somebody had to come out here and say, if we build it, they will come. They're going to come track you down. We want to meet the tuba lady who makes wine in Lodi.
And now, the Tall Mike Wine Podcast.
The cell phones have been silenced. The wine is poured, and we have no shortage this time. And just like that, the podcast begins. The Tall Mike Wine Podcast. The wine podcast that's not all about wine. Don't even get me started on all about wine. The wine podcast like no other. Heard in 67 countries on 6 continents and in 48 of these United States. Coast to coast, from Dundee, New York to Mount Lake Terrace, Washington. From the Dalles, Oregon to Calvert Heights, Maryland. I'm Mike Stone, your host. Thanks for finding me wherever you may be. If you enjoyed the show and want to help me make it even better, you can now become a subscriber. Check out the link in the show notes or go to Tall Mike Wine. Just as helpful is sharing the show with someone who loves it and leaving a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Thanks for your support. Shout out to my newest subscribers, Carl with a K, who listens while running. Go, Carl, go! And Steve in Arizona, who shares the podcast with his wine tasting group. That sounds fancy, right? Thank you, Steve. And now on to episode 46. I've taken the gear out for a bit of exploration. I've gone east, further east in Lodi, California, a wine region I have never visited, even though they've been making wine, a lot of wine, in Lodi for a long time. I was overdue for a trip, and it was recommended to me by a couple of Nicholson Ranch Wine Club members that I come out and see a certain person. So here I am at Lucas Winery, and my guest is the assistant winemaker and director of operations, Eliza Hess. Hello, Eliza.
Hi, Mike.
First of all, congratulations on wrapping up another harvest. You're finished, right? The fruit's all come in.
The fruit is all in. It's just the tough stuff, the dirty stuff now. Pressing and barreling and all that stuff.
The wine is being made right now.
Right now, actively. You can hear it, really, if you just...
I can't hear it, but we're in an office and it's kind of insulated. But I do know what it sounds like when wine is being made. And the cool thing about the process of making the wine, if you work in a winery every day and you deal with the guests that come visit, is about 10 and a half months out of the year, you talk about this thing in the abstract, when we make the wine, when we harvest the grapes, and then when it's happening all around you for that brief, 6-week period, you get to say, we are doing this today. We finished pressing these grapes. We're putting this wine in a barrel today. And I think that is super exciting.
Me too.
The harvest kind of lingered just a little bit. It was a little bit late in coming. In fact, we had to reschedule our interview. Tell me everything you can about the 2023 vintage in Lodi, if you can. Feel free to summarize.
Yeah. The 2023 vintage was pretty special. Everything was pretty delayed out in the vineyard. It took a while to start bringing in the fruit. It was also kind of cooler this year than especially last year. Last year we had those really high periods of excruciating heat.
And Lodi is known to be a lot hotter than its neighbors to the west, Napa and Sonoma, typically, right?
Yeah. So when I say it was a little cooler, it was only 95, not 115.
You didn't have weeks where you were in the 110s.
Exactly, yeah.
And then as far as yield went, did you think you harvested more grapes per acre this year?
We were a little bit light,
okay.
Light cropping out there. I kind of think that that's better sometimes. The vine doesn't have to focus its energy in so many places. It can really concentrate what it's doing in just a few places and give us some really great flavorful fruits. But of course, you'll have to wait until you open the bottle to really know what's going on out there.
And that is going to take a while because, you make the wine today, you age it tomorrow, and it's not for a few more years before you get to taste those 2023. But indications are that things are good, right?
Absolutely.
Let's get into the journalistic W's of Lodi. Where is Lodi? What is Lodi? Who is Lodi? And my favorite, why is Lodi? Take any one of those and run with it.
Ooh, Ooh, where to begin? Yeah, Lodi started out with these really big vineyards that were sold mostly to the big players, Gallo, bulk wines. But a few years into that, I think around late 70s, 80s, some winemakers around here started to say, well, wait, we grow really quality fruit here. We're proud of it and we want to start showing it off. And so it kind of took off from there. We have more boutique wineries now, just really fabulous wines, especially, our Zinfandel that we're really known for. Throughout the years, we've been kind of gaining more success with other varietals. We're still kind of finding out who we are, but there are lots of good stories to be told.
And of course, where is Lodi? You're south of Sacramento, you're north of Stockton. You're just on the other side of Interstate 5 from the rest of the world, right?
Yes.
The Bay Area is way over there. You're all the way out here. I didn't realize driving out here, I'd get into like some serious rural areas.
You're in the sticks. That's right.
I didn't want to say it, but if you said it, that's okay. Yes, we're in the sticks of Lodi. Now, let's talk about you. You're an Illinoisan. You're from Bushnell. It seems to be, speaking of in the middle of nowhere, it seems to be in the middle of nowhere, but I looked at it on the map. Bushnell, Illinois is actually, I found this pretty cool, smack in the middle, sort of surrounded by Indianapolis, St. Louis, Kansas City, Omaha, Des Moines, and Chicago, sort of like you're the sun. Bushnell is the sun, and all these big cities are like the planets orbiting.
And boy, does it feel like that, surrounded by all of the plains and cornfields. All the big players in the Midwest, that's it.
So your family had a farm. Tell me about farm life growing up in Illinois.
Farm life was really exciting and really fun in really unexpected ways. My favorite nights were spent climbing grain bins, and just kind of stargazing, which is really not a super active way to have fun, but we loved it.
But you're out there in the middle of nowhere, I'm sure, at night when it gets dark.
Oh, yeah, the stars out there.
You can see the stars. The sky just lights up, I'm sure.
You can actually see the stars. Here, we are in the sticks, like I said. I'm not surrounded by much, but it is still kind of hard to see the stars through all the lights at night. There's really just nothing like it back in Illinois.
So what did your family have on their farm?
We grow mostly corn and soybeans. A couple generations ago, we had a little bit of dairy production also. So we're big fans of ice cream, definitely, but mostly corn and soybeans, a little bit of hay every once in a while.
How big of a farm are we talking?
Oh, just a little, 500,000 acre.
Oh, my. That's bigger than Lodi, right?
Yeah, no, not 500,000, but yeah, several hundred acres out there.
Wow. And big farm family, you and do you have siblings?
I do. I have an older brother and an older sister. None of us got involved in farming corn and soybeans.
Okay.
My brother's in New Orleans right now, finishing up his degree in anesthesiology. And my sister, we're really proud of him.
Yeah.
And my sister, she works with environmental studies for the Rhodium Group out of Denver.
So she's in Denver and your brother's in New Orleans and you're out here. Your parents are back home on the farm.
Just kicking it.
Okay.
That's it.
That's awesome. Will you pour me some wine?
Sure, yeah, I'd love to.
All right, we're going to taste some Lucas wines here. And the first wine is a Chardonnay. Thank you so much.
This is our 2018 Chardonnay. So it is a 5-year-old wine in your glass. I love it.
Now, the fruit you use here, is it all estate fruit? Do you buy a lot of fruit from other people?
We use mostly estate fruit. All of our Zinfandel is estate grown. The Chardonnay we actually source from 2 vineyards that are very nearby and owned by close family friends of the Lucases, the Shins and the Petersons. When we started making the Chardonnay, Heather actually, our winemaker, she went all around Lodi and she tasted as many Chardonnay vineyards as she could until she found the ones that she felt best represented Lodi as an appellation and were also owned by people that we could work really easily with. So who better than your friends?
It's really nice. The fruit profile is really soft. And there's some nice pear and some nice melon in there. And then you get a little bit of that stuff the oak barrel brings into the wine. A little bit of like almost caramel or even like toasted marshmallow.
It's like you read our tasting notes.
I did not read your tasting notes. Where are they? No, I happen to work at a winery where we make a lot of Chardonnay, and this tastes like Chardonnay. It tastes like good Chardonnay. How long does it spend in barrel?
That's actually only in barrel for its fermentation, and then maybe 2 or 3 weeks after that.
Oh.
We don't do malolactic fermentation.
Okay.
It's just that little teeny tiny bit of surly aging.
Mm-hmm.
Really not a lot.
Okay. It gives it some nice texture, though. It's not light. It's actually got some nice body to it.
Absolutely. Yeah, we like the body that little time in the oak gives it, but it extends the ageability of the wines, which is one of the main things that we're going for with the Chardonnay. And it's also only 1/3 of the entire lot is in those oak barrels. The rest of it is stainless steel for the entire fermentation.
How many different Chardonnays do you make?
Well, we just make the one.
Oh.
But we have it in stainless steel and then in barrel, and then we marry them back together just before the bottling.
Oh, so this is 1/3 barrel fermented, 2/3 stainless steel fermentation. Wow,
Exactly.
that's super minimal. But the oak does give it some nice texture.
Oh, yeah.
I get a little bit anyway. No, and it is definitely not an oaky wine. And I don't think your intention is to make an oaky, buttery Chardonnay. There's plenty of those out there.
Our kind of way around here is, David, our owner, likes to say, barrels to a winemaker are like spices to a chef. So you're really just trying to elevate the flavors that are already there. We're not trying to take over the wine with the oakiness.
Right. If the oak is all you taste, then something has gone wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Something's gone terribly wrong. All right. So this is the Chardonnay from 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And the appellation is Lodi. Just Lodi, right?
Just Lodi,
I
yeah.
want to make sure I'm getting it right. This is my first time here, so I want to make sure I'm saying all the things correctly. Are there any sub-appellations in Lodi?
There are several sub-appellations. This is a pretty big appellation, really.
Mm-hmm.
It goes pretty wide. We're in the McCollamy sub-appellation, I believe.
All right.
We don't really talk sub-appellations very much around here.
Right. We haven't got to that point yet.
Yeah.
Eventually, people will say, but where in Lodi?
Well, at least not right here at the Lucas Winery. The Wine Grape Commission just put out a really cool video about East versus West kind of stuff. But,
Okay, so there's some rivalry.
A little bit of rivalry. Not from us. We're kind of friends to everybody if we can. But yeah, there are rivalries here and there. I mean, we've been making wine in this area for a few decades.
Okay.
That's bound to happen, right?
Sure. I mean, the people that talk about rivalries, when they come to my winery and they say, we were just down at your competition down the street. And I said,
And you're
you know
kind of
what?
like, yeah.
I said, you know what? We're all on team wine.
Yeah.
What's good for one of us is good for all of us. So I'm glad you went to see them.
It's all about bringing more people here, right?
That's right. We all have to get along. And it's easy to get along because we're all making wine, drinking wine. And who's more agreeable than people who are drinking wine all the time, right?
That's right. That's why I got into it.
All right. Take me back to the farm in Bushnell, Illinois. Was there wine in your house growing up?
Occasionally, I would see a bottle of Barefoot Chardonnay in the fridge.
Oh, okay.
That was my mom's doing, I think.
Sure.
And we grew up in a Catholic family, so there was, wine at communion every Sunday.
Okay.
But that was about it. I learned actually recently that my great-grandpa was making wine in Prohibition. He brought over some grapevines from Germany with him and was making it kind of on the down low back then.
Great-grandpa from Germany.
Yes, I never met him. Never tasted the wine, never tasted the grapes.
This is in Illinois.
Yes.
Okay. Is it a place where you could grow grapes in Bushnell?
I wouldn't say you can grow very many grapes there. Definitely some muscadine type things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not your best bet.
No, not your best bet.
Stick with the soybeans and the corn.
It's a little cold, in the winter.
Sure. Yeah, the vines might get a little chilly.
Yeah.
Okay, now you went off to college, also in Illinois. You studied horticulture, according to your bio. What made you go in a wine-centric direction after that?
I did actually make a little bit of wine in high school. I try not to talk about that too much,
Was this for a class project or was this on the side?
It was on the side.
Okay then.
I spent a lot of time growing up making breads and cinnamon rolls and stuff with my granny and seeing up close yeast transform, what we were making into this light, fluffy bread.
Sure.
And that was just kind of fascinating to me that we were adding something that was live to this food that we were eating later. And so it was kind of with that in mind that I started making wine for my house. Not so much, let's pass a bottle of swill around.
What were you using? Were you using actual grapes?
No, I was using Welch's grape juice and bread yeast. It was not tasty, but it was so fun to watch.
But for you, this was just an experiment.
Yes.
You weren't trying to create alcohol. So you and your friends could get drunk on a Saturday night.
Absolutely not.
That's what convenience stores are for, right?
Yeah, we've got 2 drive-through liquor stores actually in Lodi or in Bushnell.
Oh, that's cool. The drive-through.
Drive-through.
So convenient. Okay, so you went to college, and what was it that turned you in a wine-centric direction at that point? Because I read your bio. It says you went to college, studied horticulture, and then the next thing was you were off to work harvests in Illinois, and then off to France, I believe it was.
Yeah.
What's the connecting piece there?
The connecting piece. I did do a little internship in Illinois at a winery. That was kind of a continuation of my experiment, I guess.
Okay.
Learning to make those wines. They're totally different from what you find in California. You know, you have to pick a direction, right? And I chose horticulture. I chose things that are grown and then sometimes made into other products. I really liked the idea of getting involved in something that was used to celebrate or commemorate a special moment, things that are around for like the best parts of people's lives. I really liked that idea. And so that's kind of what led me to wine.
Or the worst part of people's lives.
Sometimes,
I
yeah.
need a drink. Right?
Right.
Wine can help you in both instances, right? Good times, bad times. That's why the wine business is good, right? So you interned in Illinois and then off to France. I always hear people say, I finished college, then worked a few harvests in whatever wine region. You went off to France. What's that process like? Walk me through it.
I actually wasn't even there for harvest.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a summer internship. I was over there around the time that they were fixing up all of their irrigation out in the fields. It was really fun to learn to drive a tractor in French.
Yeah. Oui.
Yeah. Get out your Google Translate. Yeah, I spent a lot of time just getting really good at charades, actually.
Sure.
Yeah.
Did you find that if you spoke louder, people could understand you better?
No, it was like the opposite. They wanted to talk to me less.
Here comes the ugly American. She's so loud. Oui. How about you pour me another wine?
Yeah, sure.
Let's do that.
We have our flagship wine here, another 2018. This is our ZinStar Zinfandel.
ZinStar.
Mm-hmm.
I did notice on your website that Zinfandel is sort of the thing here.
It kind of is. Everybody's crazy for it here. We're known for kind of big jammy Zinfandels typically because we have so much high heat. Things can get a little jammy, but we like to keep our style just a little bit kind of pulled back from that, I guess.
Okay. Not overtly jammy.
No.
A fruit presence, but not like sipping liquid jam.
You're not going to want to pull out your peanut butter sandwich with this one. No.
Okay.
We keep it far away from jammy. I wouldn't even say this wine is jammy. It comes from our certified organic vineyard. That's about 3.5 acres, head trained. Everything we do for this one is by hand. It's where all the romance is.
Oh, head-trained vines. Those are the ones that look kind of like Bob Marley.
Exactly. Gnarly old guys.
I love talking about people say, what's up with that vine over there? It looks like it's got dreadlocks. I'm like, oh, that's what they call head training. Where there's no trellis, right? There's no wires. The plants are just sticking up there and the vines go just kind of erupt out of the top and just hang there.
Erupt out of the top and hang there. I like that. That's what I'm going to start describing them as. I've also heard like goblet style.
Okay.
But the eruption, I like that. They're not really trained by wire at all. Every year we prune them back by hand, and that's kind of where you get those twists and turns. A lot of people will walk out to our vineyards and say, oh, what kind of trees are those? And then we get to have that really fun moment of, well, you're at a winery. These are vines.
These are grape trees. Wow, that is jammy zin. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but it's definitely got some hefty fruitiness to it. Good structure, lots of berry fruit, lots of I want to say boysenberry.
Ooh, yeah.
And raspberry and blackberry. What else happens to this wine? I'm guessing it stays in a barrel for a little while.
Yes, it will be in barrel for about 14 months before we bottle it. Mostly French oak for this one, actually entirely French oak. We utilize quite a bit of neutral oak, actually, just a few kind of newer barrels in there, which I think you can kind of guess is our style, right?
Right. You're not trying to, again, we talked about that. The barrel is the spice, the herbs and spices, and you want, your style here at Lucas is fruit-forward wines.
Exactly. Fruit forward and handcrafted.
Let's talk about the Zinfandel grape physiologically in regards to why it is popular out here in Lodi.
It is a thick-skinned grape.
Mm-hmm.
It does well in these higher heats. Zinfandel is it's interesting to me, especially at fermentation, because it holds a lot of its sugar in between the flesh of the berry and the skin.
Okay.
So a lot of times we'll bring it in, we'll have a guess of what the bricks are out in the vineyard, and then we'll crush it and we'll start the fermentation and see that it'll pick up, like 2, 3, 5 bricks overnight, just from soaking up what's in between those skins and seeds.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, you don't really see that pickup really.
I've never heard of that before.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So you always kind of guess low when you're out in the vineyard.
Okay, it's going to grow then.
Right.
The amount of sugar in the juice is going to go up.
Exactly.
That's so interesting. I've never heard of that before.
Mm-hmm. And then it's a hot fermenter too. It'll take off pretty quickly. It makes more heat kind of as it goes along than any other wine. So we have to be really careful about keeping it nice and cool, keeping it from getting too active and just kind of exploding.
So do you have to chill the tank while it's fermenting? Do you have to keep it cool?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Very important. Yeah, this year we had a little bit of trouble that we fixed pretty easily. Just one of those things always comes up, right? Where you're waking up in the middle of the night thinking, oh, my wine, what's going on?
Do you do that regularly? You wake up in the middle of the night? Oh,
absolutely.
The Zinfandel, is it getting too hot?
Oh, yeah. If you don't think I was up at 3 a.m. thinking about the barreling today, you've got another thing coming.
No, because you live it and you sleep it and you breathe it and you eat it, right?
Yeah.
And this is called having a passion for it.
I would say so.
And it's so great that you followed your passion. All right. So you started in Illinois. You went off to France. Then you made the leap from France to Lodi. Tell me how that happened.
Actually, when I graduated from college, I didn't really necessarily have California on my... I can turn that off.
Oh, well, it's kind of cool. Whatever that sounded. What is that sound?
That tells us that somebody is walking in or out of the tasting room.
Oh, well, it sounds like business is good.
Yeah. I guess. I hope.
Let's leave it on. I like it.
Okay, yeah, a little background.
Yeah.
There.
It adds character to the whole podcast.
But yeah, I wasn't really set on California at all when I graduated. There were a couple of wineries in Missouri that I thought were kind of cool.
Okay.
If you ever tasted in the Herman area.
Never been to Missouri, never tasted any wine from Missouri.
There are wines there.
There's wine being made commercially in all 50 states.
Yeah.
California, Oregon, Washington get most of the love.
They sure do.
So then what happened?
So then I knew I needed a connection to get wherever I wanted to be, right? It's not about what you are, it's about who you know, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
So I really just kind of hassled my professors as much as I could near graduation. And I found that the dean of my college was roommates with a grower out in Lodi. And that grower happened to be working with David and Heather and called me, had a little 5-minute conversation, and then gave me a recommendation that I really didn't deserve after knowing the guy for 5 minutes. But sometimes things just work out.
It's just the way the game is played. I know you. I want to get you in. I'll say nice things about you.
I was absolutely not the most qualified candidate for this position, but I kind of think that's why I was picked. I've learned so much so quickly from David and Heather, and I really can't imagine landing in a better spot. Everything here just feels like stepping into a family.
And David and Heather are the Lucases.
They are the Lucases.
Of the Lucas Winery fame. How long have they had a winery?
They have had this winery since 1978. So actually, we are the oldest existing winery in Lodi today.
Well, that's bragging rights right there.
I think so, yeah.
I like that. As far as where they fit into the grand scheme of things here in Lodi, they're sort of the OGs.
We like to think of ourselves as the OGs, yeah. David he always has been a really huge advocate for the Lodi growing area, and he's actually partially responsible for setting up a lot of the kind of grassroots organizations that are around here. The Wine Grape Commission, the Lodi Grape Grower Association. He's kind of been involved in all of those. He's been a loud voice for this community.
Well, like you said earlier, the grapes used to just be grown and then sold in mass quantities to the Gallos and the Carlo Rossis of the world. And somebody had to come out here and say, if we build it, they will come. Let's build a nice winery. Let's make nice wines. So he's that guy.
I would say Steve Bora was that guy.
Oh, okay.
But David was definitely around for those conversations. They were just a handful of them. He actually made his first few wines with one of the Phillips brothers that own the Michael David Winery. So they were all kind of just the key players. They were all hanging out, getting to know each other in the 70s and learning to make wine.
Way before you were born.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? You see, and you get to work with this guy who owns the winery, and you get to see him. But it's like having a living, breathing pioneer.
Yes, absolutely.
You can talk to and ask questions.
Yeah.
You ever say, tell me about the olden days?
No, but he's more likely to come into the office and say, hey, I found this really big wave in Hawaii. Come over here and look at this.
Oh, okay. So he's living the good life.
He's living a really good life.
He is living the good life. What do you think are the main differences between Lodi and, say, Napa and Sonoma? And I mean more like vibe-wise.
Vibe. I would say in Lodi, we definitely have less people. Our tourism is growing year after year, but it's not crowded by any means. We're also boutique owned, which I know there are a lot of kind of smaller wineries in Napa too.
But they're getting fewer and fewer.
They are.
The little ones are being snapped up by, the bigger companies that own lots and lots of wineries.
Exactly. Where here it is still very much family owned generational wineries where you're likely to walk in to the tasting room and be served by the winemaker or by the owner. You're more likely to get to know them than I think you are in a lot of other winemaking regions.
My boss is the owner and the winemaker of my winery, and he is regularly interacting with guests. And he talks about when he first started coming up to Sonoma and Napa, being a guy working in software in the Bay Area. And he said, back in the 1980s, you would go visit wineries all over Sonoma, and a lot of times the guy pouring the wine was the winemaker or the owner or both. And that's just not as much of a thing there anymore. So it's still a thing here.
I would say it's still a thing here. Absolutely.
That is cool.
Yeah. Come in and you'll meet everybody. We really want everyone to come to Lodi and feel like they are just as much a part of the story. They can meet people face to face.
Off the top of your head, how many wineries are there? Or do you know the answer? Just
90 plus.
90 plus. Mm-hmm. Okay. I like that. I'm asking Eliza these questions without giving her any time to prep. 90
so don't
plus,
fact check me.
90 plus wineries. So a person could come out here and they could taste wine for several days, visit lots and lots of wineries.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
You could try a new winery every day for a third of the year.
I hope you like Zinfandel because there's a lot of it out here. What are the other big grapes in Lodi as a region? What would you say if you had to characterize it?
Let's see. I would say, I see a Chardonnay at most places. I think Spanish varietals are kind of taking off a little bit here.
Okay.
We're seeing more Albariños. Tempranillos,
okay.
Yes. We haven't made a Tempranillo here yet, but I'm hoping to one day.
What about Petit Syrah?
We have some Petit Syrah as well.
I know there's lots of Cabernet.
Really?
No? Just a few of the wines that I've ever seen from Lodi, a lot of them have been Cabernets.
I haven't run into as many Cabernets in the tasting rooms around here.
Okay.
They're definitely out there. it's Cab is a big one, right?
Well, that's good. Thank you for correcting my notion of my perception of Lodi as being like, they've got the Cabs out there. Definitely the Zins, definitely the Petit Syrahs and Syrah.
Yeah, Syrah is a good one for color. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little bit of everything out here. Like I said, we've been around for a while, right? And it's a big appellation, but I think that we're still kind of finding our rhythm, finding out who we are. And so there are a lot of varietals grown in this area. And that's one of the best parts of making wine here at the Lucas Winery. So we get to make something that's not Zinfandel and not Chardonnay every year and present that to our wine club members. Yeah, we've made a Cabernet. We haven't released it yet, but we've kind of dotted around with other things. Yeah, you'd never really know kind of what you're going to get, I guess.
I saw Barbera in the tasting room. I actually tasted one that was 20 years old. That was kind of nice.
Yeah, the Barbera is definitely a crowd pleaser around here. I love our Barbera. We made one again this year that I'm so excited to release in, 6 years.
6 years?
Oh, yeah, it's got to lay down for a while.
Okay, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's, patience. It's hard.
If you don't have patience, then you're making beer.
I like that. That's really clever. What I want to do is taste this Lodi Pinot Noir you've got on the table.
Okay.
Because Pinot Noir, as far as I know, is a wine that really doesn't want to be in an area that's too warm. So tell me about Lodi Pinot.
You are correct with that. This is actually a clone that was specially developed for hotter climates.
What's the clone called?
Great question.
Okay.
I'm sure I have it written down somewhere. It was especially developed to grow really well here. And it was under like a 10-year contract with Gallo just to try out that clone to see how well it would actually do here.
Right.
And once that contract was up with our really, really close friend, Stanton Lang, he decided to start selling the grapes to us.
It looks like a Pinot. I was expecting it to be something different than what I'm used to. I don't know why. Just because when I saw the bottle Pinot Noir and I'm like, ooh, it's Lodi. Do they grow Pinot out here? Can they grow it? Can they? But it looks like a Pinot.
We grow this one really specific type of Pinot.
It has a nice lighter red color, like kind of almost a pale ruby color. I'm going to smell it now. It smells like Pinot. Red berry fruit, cherry, little cranberry. This is the exciting part of the podcast. Mike is just swooshing the wine around in his mouth.
It's the best faces, and nobody gets to see them.
That's a Pinot. That's a good Pinot. I like it. Makes my mouth water. Got some nice acidity to it. Not super heavy, which is why people drink Pinot. They want nuance, subtlety, artistry, finesse.
Yeah.
This wine has all of those things. Oh, it's delicious. This is from 2019.
Yes, this is the newest wine on the table. I've been enjoying a lot of the Pinot lately, actually. It is just nice, kind of light. It goes with everything.
Might you even serve this slightly chilled? You think?
I might.
Maybe?
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there. Remember, there are no wrong answers in wine.
I don't think that there are any wrong answers in wine. And the most important question is just, do you like it?
Right. People come to my winery and a guy will say, oh, my wife, she likes to put ice cubes in her Chardonnay. I'm like, okay. If she likes it that way, let her do it.
Great. Let me pull out the ice tray.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's been a couple of times here even where David will pull out a bottle that's, coming out of the fridge or right out of the wine fridge.
Right.
And he will put it in a glass and throw it in the microwave for like 5 or 10 seconds just to warm it up. We don't really advertise
crazy
them.
guy? Who's that crazy guy putting the wine in the microwave? He's the owner of the winery.
He knows what he is doing.
We let him do what he wants to do. It's his microwave.
I tried it though, and it did. It helped. It didn't really warp the wine at all. It was just warmer. just what I needed.
Just don't leave it in there too long.
Oh yeah, not trying to make tea.
Don't
no.
forget about it. All right, the last thing in your bio says you've been picking up your trumpet again. Trumpet, really? Tell me more.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of brass.
Okay.
I played the tuba in high school after the trumpet, and that was really like my passion. I wish I could go back to tuba, the big womp, womp, womp.
Yeah, the deep bass.
Yes.
I played the trumpet briefly in elementary school, and I just never developed the lip.
You got to work on it.
Really work that lip. And I took a year off, and then I went back, and all my friends had gone so much further ahead of me, and they were so good at it. And I was just like, all right, I shouldn't have taken that year off.
Oh no.
Yeah.
You can't be discouraged.
That's all right. I found the choir room not long after that.
Oh, perfect.
I spent most of my time in junior high and high school in the choir room.
Good balance.
Yes.
I just picked up my trumpet for the first time in several years, and I too am having a hard time finding the right lips for it, you know?
Oh yeah, I'm sure you've lost some of your lip if you laid it down for too long.
You got to rebuild it. Yeah.
So there's the tuba, there's the giant one, the sousaphone.
Played that too.
What is the other one that's like a tuba? Is it called the euphonium or something like that? Is there an instrument somewhere in that same range that's like a different size?
Yes, I would say that there is.
Is it euphonium?
Sure.
Okay, we're going to go with that.
Yeah.
There's people at home saying, no, it's not the euphonium. They're Googling.
It's all right. Reach out.
Because a lot of people, when you say tuba, they have in their mind, they have the sousaphone in their mind.
Yep, the big wrapping around.
But the tuba is the big one that you hold.
Yes.
You wrap your arms around the tuba.
I tried. I actually had to get a stool in front of me to rest it on.
Right.
It was just a little too
That's
big.
not light. It's made of brass.
Yeah.
And then you have to give it the big...
Oh, yeah, that's the fun part.
Do that for me. Oh,
Yeah.
man, that's a good lip. I like that.
See, it's just the trumpet. It's a little smaller.
No.
Got to work on it a little more.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. See,
Right.
I can't believe you stopped.
I know. Maybe I could pick it up again.
I think so.
I have no desire.
Make a little brass duet here. Yeah.
I like that. The tuba, though, I love that. You can really motorboat good with that.
There you go.
I like that. Have you been on many podcasts?
No, this is my first one.
Oh, your first time on a podcast. How do you like it?
It's thrilling.
It's a thrill, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's people listening all over the world.
Whew.
I have people listening in countries, and I'm like, why aren't those people listening to my podcast? I get all this information about, people in these various countries, none of which I've ever visited, and none of which I know people in, and think, why are they listening? But I'm glad they are. It's fun, right?
How far away?
All over the world. 67 countries.
Whew.
I'll show you the list when we're done. It's
Please don't. Then I'll just be embarrassed.
No. They're going to come track you down. We want to meet the tuba lady who makes wine in Lodi.
The tuba lady. Sure, I'll take that one.
All right. Are you a podcast listener? Do you listen to podcasts? Do you have any recommendations?
I listen to the Daily Brew most mornings.
Okay. Is that news?
It's like news and economy.
Okay.
It's just like slightly more fun.
Okay. They're having fun with the economy.
Oh, yeah. A little bit. But I don't really have a lot of time to listen to podcasts. I like to blare music super loud.
What's on your favorite playlist right now?
A lot of Cake.
Oh, Cake.
Yeah.
They're from out here, right?
Yeah.
They're Sacramento guys.
Mm-hmm. They're Sacramento guys and have a really great brass section,
It's
right?
true.
They've got some
It's
nice
true.
trumpet in there.
Yeah. No, Cake is great.
It's just a little bop, right? You can.
It's hard to characterize their music, What they're doing is pretty special. It's almost like hip hop with a brass section.
Yeah.
Because he's not really singing. He's kind of rapping in tune.
Like a chant.
A chant. Yeah, I think so. Do you have any questions for me?
Did you like the wines?
I like the wines a lot, yes. I'm a fan of all of these wines. The Pinot, delicious, nice and light, berry fruit. The Zin, I know you say you're not trying to make a jammy Zin. I thought that Zin was pretty jammy.
Oh, great. Back to the drawing board with that one, I guess.
No. Don't change it, though, because I don't drink a lot of Zinfandel, and I think it's because I've had too many of those, like, jammy Zins. But you know what? When you're in the mood for that, it hits the spot.
Sometimes it just hits. That's how all wines are,
That's one of the beauties of it.
Oh, yeah. You never really know everything about the wine, ever.
No, and the wine doesn't know everything about you.
A little bit of mystery. Mm-hmm.
Mystery. I think we're wrapping up.
Okay.
Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, thank you for coming down to Lodi. I hope you'll taste at a few other wineries, too.
Maybe. I'm going to do the credits now. You ready?
Yeah.
The Tall Mike Wine Podcast was conceived and is written, edited, produced, and maintained by yours truly. For questions or guest suggestions, or to request your very own stack of official coasters, drop me an email to tallmikewine@gmail.com. You see, we didn't even talk about the coasters. I gave Eliza a stack of the coasters. You like them?
I'm so excited to use these coasters.
Okay. We're going to take pictures of you holding them. And you can see behind the scenes by following me on Instagram at Tall Mike Wine. Want to support the show monetarily? Click on the Support the Show link in the show notes or go to tallmikewine.com. And of course, I'd love a mere 5-star rating on Apple Podcast if you have a moment. If you're new here, well, check out the archives. Nearly 3 years of podcasts are waiting for you. Just scroll down for more fun chats with a wide array of people over glasses of wine. From Lodi's Lucas Winery, thanks to Eliza Hess, I'm Tall Mike Wine, a.k.a. Mike Stone. Thanks for hanging out. Keep swirling. Keep sniffing. Keep sipping. Cheers.